CORSO and CATONE.
Well, listen, Mark, hold on. When I say, would you have caffeine today?
What the hell is that up to?
Presented by Special Sauce Podcast, Studio 42 Design, and CORSO Law Group. Now for the real deal New England feel, CORSO and CATONE.
Welcome into CORSO and CATONE, the real deal New England feel. I'm CORSO. He's CATONE. In the back, in the booth, is Joe. And we know you're with us on YouTube, on iHeartRadio, and Apple Podcast, or wherever you podcast. And check us out on Twitter. Of course, our heated hotline, 855-313-PATS. Give us a call 24/7. Leave and they've been great calls. They really have been great calls of late. So 855-313-7287. We're going to pick yours, hopefully. Listen, we got a fantastic show today. A lot going on. And want to let you know, this is Thursday night. We are recording Thursday night. We're going to air it on normal time, 7 p.m. Eastern on Saturday. But there's a lot that's going to happen between now and Saturday, right, Mark? So stay tuned anyway, because we want you to hear us talk about our predictions of what's going to happen with the Celtics, the Bruins, who are playing right now. And you can let us know in Heated Hotline if we were right, if we were wrong, what you think. So make sure you tune in regardless. But even with that, we have a busy show. We got in Weekly Rewind, Celtics, Bucks. We're going to talk that. Yankees versus Red Sox. And, of course, CATONE'S comments. You never want to miss that. Going to hear from one of you in Heated Hotline later on in the show. And in Real Deal, what's the Patriots' grade? Mark and I will tell you. So, gentlemen,
hey,
how are we doing on a Thursday night?
I'm good. Just to clarify, I'm always right. If our predictions are right, I'm always right, Joe.
Somewhere along the way.
Joe, what's the story with the technology? Because it's all off the bat. It's been wacky today.
Oh, you guys. In fact, our listeners probably already know out there. That's Mercury's in retrograde again.
That means you know what that means out there? Gear up for anything to happen over the next hour. So, Listen, gentlemen,
I shaved.
Hey,
that you know, for all of you listening on iHeart, he had this goatee on. It was pretty much all white. We tortured you so bad for it. He actually shaved it off.
I shaved it.
He shaved it off. So
you know what? You actually busted his chops a couple episodes before that to grow a beard. I found that. I was going to play it for you.
Of course you would go and look for that.
Yeah.
You know what's funny? You never go and look for all the things that he's wrong about. Just me for some reason. I don't know. We're gonna have to look into that, hear it. So listen, we got a lot to get to. Again, we want to talk Celtics, Bucks, and Yankees versus Red Sox. And you know what? We're gonna do it in Weekly Rewind, and that's right now. I'm getting it. Going back through the week. About a weekly rewind. So we're going to talk Celtics Bucks, Mark, right now, and real disappointing. Last night, Game 5 was Wednesday night, and the Celtics dropped 110-107 when they had a 14-point lead in the fourth quarter with about 8-10 minutes left in the game.
About that.
And then Milwaukee proceeded to just turn on the gas, and Celtics pretty much turned off the gas. So while we were going to get ready to talk about the heart they showed in Milwaukee in Game 4 by winning that game,
that was flipped.
That definitely squashed that. It squashed it big time. So it's Game 5's on everybody's mind, Mark. So let's not even go backward from there. What did you see in Game 5 that led to this?
Up until that 9-minute mark or so of the fourth quarter, they were doing exactly what you wanted to see them do. They were moving the ball around. They were playing defense. They were. I thought they did a pretty good job protecting the rim, even though they didn't have Robert Williams. Defensively, they didn't do a good job rebounding. Milwaukee killed them on the offensive board. Not having Robert Williams last night really hurt them. I mean, I'm not even going to get into the missed free throw at the end by Giannis that Portis goes in. Well, Brown, and I think it was it Smart bang into each other, and Portis goes and gets a rebound. Williams, was it Williams?
Grant Williams.
But you know what? Frustrated me. They could not stop the Celtics when they were going to the basket. Jaylen Brown was going to the basket. I think Grant Williams might have won a few times to the basket. Smart went to the basket.
They had some dunks.
Tatum did. And then all of a sudden, that stopped. Like with 9 minutes to go, they just, it's like, they went back to shooting 3-pointers. Tatum's at the elbow, taking fall away jump shots from the foul line. They're coming up short. I mean, I don't know what happened. It was almost like you hit a switch and they reverted back to November and they forgot how they got this lead.
And we'll talk about Udoka in a second, but first, again, the offensive rebounds, that's the glaring. They had 17 in the game, but Mark, 14 of them were in the second half.
Okay.
So they were pretty much under control in the first half with it. Then in the second half, it just all went in the toilet. And it was guys, and it didn't matter who it was. I mean, I saw Covington take a rebound away from, and I think it was Horford.
Yeah, that's inexcusable.
I mean, you can't. Are you kidding me?
And listen, Horford's the only reason why we won Game 4. Horford don't show up in Game 4. We're home right now.
Mark, he's the MVP so far in this series for the Celtics.
Yeah.
I mean, I can't imagine any argument against
that.
But
Tatum's shooting percentage yesterday from 3 points line was awful.
All of it. I mean, all of it. I mean, when he got to the rim or he drove and he kicked it out, then it was good. But the offensive rebounds killed him. Okay. But when everybody's looking at that Giannis free throw at the end, which you knew he was going to miss the second one. I mean, you knew he was going
when he was shooting them, I'm saying to myself, please hit them both so we can go down and try to win this. It's a tie game. Because I didn't trust our rebounding.
So 2 things I take from that play. And to me, it's a microcosm of what went on in that fourth quarter. 1, why isn't Tatum down in that box position? First of all, he's 6'8". Mm-hmm. You got Grant Williams down there. I mean, I don't understand why he's not under there like that to secure that rebound. That's first off. Second, and I haven't heard this anywhere today, why isn't offense for defense? Why isn't Tyson this game in that situation for rebounding purposes to block out? I mean, to body somebody up.
That's a good point.
I don't understand why you're not bringing. I mean, am I missing the rules? They're shooting a free throw in between the first and second. You can bring him in, right?
Absolutely,
he can sub in. Yep. And then they have the time. So if the idea is, well, if Tice comes in that game, he gets the rebound, he's going to get fouled immediately, right? So what? So what? I'll take my chances with him on the line, shooting 2 free throws and maybe missing one. And
because you'd have a 1-point lead at that point.
Because you got the lead and time ticks down off the clock again. Put the pressure back on them. Instead, you want to have your smalls in that box rebound spot, the low end, where that didn't make any sense to me. Those 2 moves I didn't quite understand. And then the idea of them walking the ball up in the fourth quarter, starting at about 9 minutes, they just started walking the ball up.
We've praised Udoka during the course of the season and during this run, and I know you've praised him several times. But let me tell you something. I don't think he caught enough heat for last night because I don't know what he allowed them to do. You're right. They're walking the ball up court. Call a timeout. Bring the guys together and say, listen, this isn't working. We got to go back to what we were doing. Do something. He did nothing. I mean, I put that on him too. And like you said, you got to put it on him. Why didn't he bring Tice back into the game at that point? You're right. Because he very easily could have.
You trade offense for defense. I mean, you see it done all the time. With that going on, or guys are in foul trouble, whatever, you got to pull them out, put it insert. I mean, they did it. The coach over there made a couple of changes for that purpose. He brought Portis in. And to be honest with you, if Boston won that game last night, that coach for Milwaukee would have been on the hot seat because for some reason he's buried Portis on that bench.
Yeah.
And that dude is killing us every time he comes in the game. With his energy,
you're right. I don't know what it is. Yeah.
So, I mean, it's great. Keep doing that. But Udoka, for the first time in these playoffs, he looked like a rookie coach.
He did.
Last night.
He did.
And tell me that, why wasn't – I understand he didn't have a great game, Grant Williams. But explain to me why with a 14-point lead, 10-point lead, 12-point lead, you got White in that game, and Grant Williams was on the bench until like about the 3-minute mark. When at that point it was already, now it was a tie game. It was a 2-point game. What is happening there?
And I could see if White was doing something, if he was hot, if he was. I don't know what White was giving you yesterday. He certainly wasn't going. Yeah, he certainly wasn't going to the basket and creating shots or offense or dishing. So I don't know what that was about. But he gets, sometimes he does things like that. He sticks with a guy, and I don't know. Was White playing defense on somebody that he was doing such a great job? I don't know. I missed it. I don't know.
I didn't see it, but I knew he threw the ball away a couple of times.
And last night, and last night too, at the end, towards the end, again, and every so often this does happen. Smart had the ball in his hand a little too much at the end. Okay, Portis, was it? No, not Portis.
It was Drew Holiday.
Holiday blocks the shot under the basket, right?
Twice.
And twice. He knocks the ball out of his hand for the steal, right? But I don't understand why he's the one taking, why is he could have the ball in his hands under the basket. You know, you look at like LeBron, Kyrie or Durant, one of those guys at that point of a game has the ball in their hands. Tatum should have the ball in his hands looking to set something up and create something, whether it's go to the basket, drive, they double team him, kick it. The ball should run through Tatum or Brown at that point of the game, not Smart. And there's been a couple of times in this series, the ball is going through Smart. I don't understand that. You supposedly got two cornerstones on that team, Brown and Tatum, and neither one of them, the ball doesn't go through them in a critical situation. I just don't understand that. I can't. It boggles my mind.
Well, on that last play, I mean, the last
play. This is before the last play. This was the next to the
because
last
there were
play.
two of them, right? And he had the ball. Now, when Smart called out a couple of these guys, he named names. I mean, he came out in his press conference and he basically said, they asked him what happened on that last play. Everybody's focused on the last play. What happened? He said, well, everybody was standing around. Should have been Horford coming around to set the pick for Tatum, and to Tatum to get that ball and then do what he was going to do with it. And he said basically everybody was standing around, which sort of calling those guys out. So he said, I didn't have much else to do, so I took the baseline on him, and he made a good play. Now, you could see Smart, he kind of quickly peeked over. So I'm not sure how much he was willing to run. It sort of was like maybe they were trying to do what they did in Brooklyn. Remember that game one in the Brooklyn game when we were praising them, for running a play to the last second?
But they didn't have enough time to do that yesterday.
No, they didn't have enough time. So evidently the play was that. What I don't understand about the play is Tatum's on the other side. He's opposite court.
And if you look, he was wide open. But he looked wide open.
Right, but he looked like he was going to be wheeling around with Horford setting the pick, and then he would get the ball. So that clearly didn't happen. Now, in Smart's defense, Mark, when you go back and look at it, there was a lot of lackadaisical stuff happening during that play from Tatum, from Brown. There wasn't any real movement. Nobody, and that's the issue to me. That was the issue in the last 8 minutes of the game. That goes back to the coach. You said yesterday he was a rookie coach. That was I don't know what they were supposed to be running at the end, but in that last play. But you only had 6-point-something seconds. So whatever you thought you were running, you needed about 3 or 4 more seconds to run that. So you should have came up with something else for that amount of time on the clock. Yeah.
All right. And he didn't. So again, to your point, he came across last night for the first time, probably, maybe second time in the playoffs as a rookie coach.
Yeah, because you got to stop these guys from doing it. You that's it. You're going to get pissed off. You're going to say, hey, that's not our game. Ball movement. And listen, in this series, they're still doing too much of that. They do too many threes, too many threes getting thrown up there. Not enough ball. And when they move that ball crisp, it's move the ball, either drive the lane. Horford's wide open with a little shuffle pass there, and it's a dunk. I don't understand. It doesn't make any sense to me. That fourth quarter didn't. And now that may have cost them the series now. So
I got to say this too before we talk about predictions. Have you ever seen anybody get the amount of calls that this Giannis? Listen, and I'm not complaining. Listen, we lost that game yesterday.
I am.
No, listen, we lost the game yesterday. because of our stupidity and our lack of composure down the stretch. I'll say that. So this isn't why we lost yesterday. But if you ever seen a guy get the calls he gets or lack of calls against him and calls for him, it's unbelievable.
It's
and yesterday about that.
Yes. And yesterday I felt was the best officiated game out of all of them. Okay. Was yesterday. But in Milwaukee, Mark can tell you, I was talking to him. I've never been more frustrated in a basketball game than I was in games. What is that? 3 and 4?
3 and 4.
How do you, Mark, in any age, in any day and age, you come in with your elbow, your shoulder, your fist, and you're knocking these guys into the mouth like that? That's an offensive foul. If you're going to give him that, yes, I know what everybody's going to say. He has 17. He's got the most in the playoffs. 17 offensive fouls have been called against Giannis. The next person down is maybe 8. So they are calling it, and it's tough on the officials with that situation. Because of that, that's all that Euro ball stuff.
And because of his size, he's so much bigger than most of the guys he's bending into, right?
But damn it, man. You throw if you're going to go to the basket doing this, like you're stiff-arming somebody in football, you have no chance then against that guy. You have no, absolutely, Mark's 100% right. You got.
And did you see the play yesterday where Smart took a charge from him in the first, I think it was the first half maybe. He bangs him. But as he bangs him, he then lifts the shoulder up. Like that should have been a flagrant 1 or 2.
And everybody saying, well, he flopped. That's nonsense.
He didn't flop. He got elbowed. He literally lifted his elbow up and swung it. How is that flopping? At some point, you're going to have to tech him for that. And that'll end that. But they don't, okay, you gave him a foul. No, that's more than a foul. That's intentional.
And I can't stand, and the last thing I'll say on it, I can't stand this idea of, well, we don't want to, yesterday, fine. It's on them. But game 3, look, you say, well, we can't blame the officials. Look, that's part of the game. That's part of the game, Mark. Like, it's part of the game. Giannis should have been out of that game 3 at the end of the third quarter. He should be out, fouled out. So you get him out of the game, you win in that game. So don't tell me it's not part of the friggin' game. It matters. It absolutely matters. And he should have been fouled out 2 of these games. Absolutely. So
he's turned into the new LeBron. In his prime, LeBron got a lot of those calls. But LeBron wasn't as aggressive throwing elbows and all that. Like LeBron would lead into you with his shoulder and knock you down and get a call. Yeah. But Giannis seems
to had more to his game though.
Yeah, he did. He did have more to his game.
Giannis is not LeBron, but I get your point.
But you know what I mean? You know what I'm saying?
Yep. I will say this though, Mark, you got to start taking some notes next time you go to Home Goods.
You know,
need to go
Joe, I'll be arrested.
We're already starting out with issues in retrograde and computers, and
he wants me to stop throwing elbows at home.
So listen, everybody listening right now. Remember, when you're listening right now, Saturday night, this series may be over. I don't know, but let's see if we're right. Mark, who wins? Can they come back in this series now? Can they beat them twice in a row?
I'm going to go on a limb here. I'm going to go on a limb. I'm going to stick with my original prediction, Celtics in 7.
That was it. That was your prediction.
Somehow, some way, they're going to fight, scratch, and claw in Game 6 and come out of there with a 1-point, 2-point win, and then we'll come home and roll.
One or two things happens. This kind of loss puts them into a tunnel. They can't
get blown out. Yeah, they get blown
out of the water in Game 6. Yeah. But if they come out with any fight in that first quarter, and they can, I agree with Mark. That's it. I'm. You know what? I'm going to do it. I'm going to take the Celtics in 7. That's it. You
know what though? To your point, you've been saying this all year. Well, not all year. Just before this series. You said it before the playoffs. If the Celtics play Milwaukee, this is going to be a defining series and moment for Tatum. Legacy for Tatum. Well, here we go. Game 6 on the road. Can he put him on his back and say, I'm going to carry you home. Let's go. I'm going to put up 45 or 50 tonight. We're not losing in this arena. Yeah. Can he do that? And if he can do that, okay, now you want to call yourself a top 5, 6 player in the league. Okay, I'll give it to you. This is when those types of guys put them on their back and say, I'm taking us home, boys. Let's go.
Because he's yet to show me a top 5 guy in this series.
Nope, he has not. He has not. He has not.
So listen, that we'll see what happens. You will already know what happens, but Mark and I don't yet. So listen, Mark, I want to talk a little baseball before we get out of Weekly Rewind. And you had some. I know that you have been talking to me this week about some points. You wanted to talk Yankees, but you had some points on the Red Sox too. What up?
So the Red Sox, right? So I know the big thing Chaim Bloom was bringing the Tampa Bay mentality to Boston, and we've gotten into over the course of the spring training and the early part of the season. We got into the fact that the way he spent money, the way he constructed the roster, right, and that type of stuff. He was bringing that Tampa Bay mentality to a big market team, and
Right.
could that work? Okay. So he built this bullpen, which I know at the beginning of the season, Chris, we both said, hey, we think he's done a good job with this bullpen. You don't need an ace as a starter. That's Tampa Bay's never had it. And we all thought they would play well. Well, so now his bullpen is 6-11. So of their 20 losses, the bullpen has 11 of them. They're 6-11. They're tied for the major league lead in bullpen losses.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, I'm going to put this one directly on Cora because you and I have praised him over the years. I'm not going to praise him. I'm going to bang him right now. Your best bullpen person, Garrett Whitlock, was giving you the 6th, the 7th, taking you into the 8th. Sometimes he took you 2.5 at the back end, 7, 8, 9. He was one of the most dominant relievers in baseball. And what did Cora do? He takes him and he makes him one of those opening guys that Tampa Bay has done in the past. And he puts him at the front of the rotation. Give me 2 innings, 3 innings, and then you trot out 6, 7 bullpen guys like Tampa Bay does. Every inning or two, a new guy comes in, and that fills the spot for the game. And why would you do that? Why would you take your best bullpen guy, stick him at the front of the rotation when your bullpen is atrocious? In contrast, the Yankees bullpen is 14-5. They got 22 wins. The bullpen's got 14 of them. They got the best bullpen record in all of baseball. Hence, they got the best overall record in baseball, right? Overall, but that's the contrast. Bullpen. Red Sox
and the Red Sox have fourth to last in the league, not just
the entire league. The entire league. Now, that's the bullpen. So you want to say why are the Red Sox doing so bad? The construction of this team, you're going to put it on Bloom because it's not working. Could they turn it around? Absolutely. But I also think Cora, his book ain't working right now. He's opening up the notebook, the analytics book. It isn't working because these bullpen guys stink. So his matchups aren't working. He keeps bringing these guys in the 8th and 9th inning. Bang, 2-run homer, bang. Last night, Brazier, single, walk, pop out, 2-run homer. Like they stink. These guys stink. You want to put somebody at the front of the rotation? Put Bonds. Let Bonds start a game.
Right.
Maybe he won't be nervous. Right?
Yep. And
maybe
let him
Bonds
pitch.
will give you a couple. Yeah.
Let him see 3 times through. You know what I mean?
Put Whitlock back where he belongs. Bonds can't come out of the bullpen anymore. It's something mental with him. Let him open up a game. Give us a couple innings. There's no pressure on you. Score 0-0. We don't care if you give up a 2-run homer. We got 7 innings to come back. Right. Give me 2 innings or 3 innings.
Let Walker pitch. Let him pitch. Let him get to 6, 7 innings. Let's not get that bullpen on the field unless we really have to.
The other piece of it is, so your lineup 1 through 9. Okay, so you have Devers, Bogarts, and J.D. Martinez. That's your core. 3 guys, solid. They're having good seasons, solid seasons. Your other 6 guys, Trevor Story's batting .206. Verdugo's batting .216. Kiki Hernandez, your leadoff hitter. Your leadoff hit is batting a .161. Your first baseman, Dolbach, is batting .148.
That's unbelievable.
Your catcher is batting .216. Vasquez. Jackie Bradley's batting .198.
And you knew that would happen.
No, but have you ever seen a lineup like 5 through 9? There's not. I don't think anybody. No one's hitting over 220.
Right.
How are you supposed to win?
Yeah, exactly. And again, like you said, this is on Cora and Bloom. You talked about first base really quick. That their plan to go with the project, to go with the prospect. That's Tampa.
That's
Tampa.
That's Tampa.
Except you spend a lot of money on guys that are stiffs. Right.
So
now.
The big question you and I had to start this season, and we thought they would win, but the big question was, could that Tampa Bay mentality No more COVID, no more shortened season. We got 162 games. We're playing it normal. It's going to be a normal season. Everything's the way it's supposed to be. Could that mentality work in a big market like Boston? Could he get away with it? Right now, it's not working.
Not so far.
They got plenty of time to turn it around, but the Red Sox are in a lot of trouble. At this taping of this show, they're 11-20.
And so that question, we leave that question to you. Out and Heated Hotline. Let us know. This is what it's going to be all season with the Red Sox, or what is in the bag that they can pull out to make it better. And let us know what you think about the Celtics. If the series is over, what should they do next? So Weekly Rewind was presented by Special Sauce Podcast. What's your special sauce? SpecialSaucePodcast.com. When we come back, Catone's comments.
Special Sauce Podcast. You lacking the sauce. The sauce is good, man.
Easy startup, finance, train them, trust them, and let them lead.
With your host, Marcus Aurelius.
Tune in to Special Sauce Podcast, wherever you podcast. What's your special sauce? Time for Catone's Comments!
We have breaking news. Breaking news. Tom Brady retired. Oh, no, he didn't retire. I'm sorry. I thought he signed with Fox Sports. Isn't he doing football games? No, he's not doing football games. Hold on. Not this year. Maybe not next year. Maybe 3 years from now. But he's going to do football games as the lead analyst for Fox. I've never heard something so crazy in all my life. During the course of his career, he's made $325 million. He just signed a 10-year contract for $375 million. I'll repeat, $375 million to broadcast football games on Fox. This is unbelievable to me. Unbelievable. This guy just can't walk away and say goodbye. Listen, the rumor was he was going to Miami. He was going to be part owner. I think the whole Brian Flores thing, right? Because of what happened down there with the lawsuit, and they were talking about bringing Brady in, and he didn't want to meet with him. And I don't think Brady wants to go down there and touch that. But I don't think Brady wants to touch that, right? He don't want to touch it. So I think the whole ownership thing had to be put aside. He goes to a plan B. Make yourself almost $400 million, almost $500 million to do broadcasting. You get to stay involved in the game, right? You get to do what you love, and it keeps your name alive for his TB12 brand and that new clothing line he's got. That keeps him relevant for all the other business ventures he has. But you know what? I'm sick of it. He's the greatest player to ever play the game in any sport, in my opinion. Okay? However, at some point, it's time to walk away. Do something else. Enjoy your life. People are going to get sick of listening. Tom Brady. Another 10 years of Tom Brady? Are you kidding me? Chris, are you kidding me?
Well, the thing is, right? I mean, I don't have a problem with going into broadcast. I mean, Troy Aikman did it forever, and that's fine. But now, why now? You know, this is what pisses me off about it right now. And I think this is what some of the things that were irritating the Patriots too, is all this talk about what's going to happen after he's done. You know, you're not done. Look, like you're either done or you're not done. So either tell us when you're done, okay? Tell us when you're going to be done so we can have that farewell season and all that other nonsense. Or shut up about your future plans. You know, you want to keep it on the slide. You want to sign with Fox and all that. Why? Why does it have to come out? Well, Fox wants it to come out, of course, because, you know, they're going to get their ratings in the lead up. They're going to, you know, they lost Troy Aikman. So now Brady's going to be the new Troy Aikman, I guess. I guess. But
you're
we
right,
don't
though.
know.
Why wouldn't you just wait? Once he retires, hey, he's going to come work for us.
I wonder what what are the rules on that? Can he get like an advance right now from Fox while he's in the league? Is that against the rule? We got to figure that out.
But did you notice
maybe he got some scratch for
Listen,
letting
you
him announce it
probably
now.
did, because did you hear the other piece of that? he's also going to do something in regards to, I don't know, brand publicity. Like there's something else to it. It wasn't just lead analyst. There was something else he was doing for Fox. So who knows if they gave him an advancement on that?
Well, listen, in this golf thing he's doing, right?
Yeah.
You know, it was he and Aaron Rodgers and Allen
Against
and
Mahomes and Allen.
Is that Fox? What channel?
I don't know who's showing that. I'm not sure. I got to look at that. I don't know.
was wondering if that was Fox, but yeah, like I said, I don't know. As I said, I don't have a problem with him doing the broadcasts and all that stuff. What I have a problem with is, okay, when? So if you're going to be if you're going to be a wise ass and you want to build your brand again, you want to make more money, you're a pig, fine. I don't care. But don't come out with that tease and say, hey, someday I'm going to be working for Fox broadcasting games. Oh, that's great. I'll tell you what, as a Patriots fan, thank God all that crap happened in Miami. Because if he showed up in Miami as a part owner, he would play forever. He'd play for this dude would play for another 5, 8, 7 years. And you think I'm crazy? I wouldn't bet against that.
Listen,
so fine. I'm happy with him getting in the booth. Go get in the booth. Yeah.
I still think he may go to Miami next year for a year or two, even though he may not take ownership. I think he wants to play in the Patriots division. Stick it to you.
Much to Fox's dismay. The longer he plays, right?
Listen, I want him just to go away. I can't take it anymore. The Brady. He's killing us. He's killing us.
And he's not like, you got to say, oh, you're a homer. Yeah, I am a homer. This is the real deal New England feel. We're like you. We're fans. That's why we're here. We ain't those jackasses that have to pander. You know what I mean? No. I want him to go away too. All Patriots fans want him to go away. We don't want the reminder, that closure. Jesus, I thought when Mark and I went to the stadium last year, we got all the closure we needed. You know, the conversation and the tunnel, and
then he went to the locker room.
Bullshit, so we'll see what happens. But
10 more years. 10.
Yeah, I know. Criticizing New England when he broadcast them. Fantastic. Can't wait for it. Thanks, Mark, for that. CATONE'S Comments was presented by Jag Media Productions. And, hey, I promised we'd hear from one of you in the nation. Joe, I really hope this one brings it like last week. So let's get it done. Heated Hotline.
Hi, guys. Yeah, the Bruins, they're really starting to piss me off. Like, the defense is so bad, and no changes are being made during the game. Like, bench Grzelcyk already. He was responsible for the first 2 goals in Game 5. I don't understand. He stinks. Yeah, I think they're done. What do you guys think? Hi, guys.
And thank you for the call. No name again. I like it. They just
I like it.
No, but hey, you know what? Sometimes I choose the ones with no name just because of like a one like that. Right to the point. I love it.
They're pissed. I don't blame them for being pissed.
I mean,
Mark, the fans are pissed off. And listen, if we can see that about Grizz now tonight, again, we're here on Thursday. They're playing right now, and I think to the break, there's no score. But he benched Grzelcyk tonight, and that was overdue. And the caller mentions Grzelcyk. He cost them the first 2 goals. He did in that game.
Yeah. So that goes back to the point you and I were discussing last week, I think, about the fact that Cassidy doesn't make any changes mid-game, during game. He left them in there. Like, okay, you made that change in between, Game 5 and Game 6. Why didn't you do it in the game? In game. That's it. You're done. No more shifts. Bury him. No more shifts. We'll bring you back on the ice if we're desperate.
Yeah, get Riley up to that line and bury Grzelcyk. Because, look, the puck was in their end. Okay, and what the caller's talking about is the first goal. The puck was I give it on Swayman a little bit in that game.
Swayman gave up a couple soft goals the other night.
That first goal was a soft goal, but nevertheless, Grzelcyk had the puck down in that corner. It was just a lackluster crap effort. Yeah. It was like he was like gliding into that corner, and they're just buzzing around him. Couldn't get the puck out. Then he turns it over. Goal. And, of course, the rest of the defense isn't moving anybody out from in front of the net. So that's a goal. Then he proceeds to take a penalty. Now, they didn't score on that penalty, but nevertheless, you come down, it's a hook, and it's all based on lack of effort energy, all that stuff. So I understand what the caller is saying, but yeah, I think you're going to put it squarely, like Mark says, on the coach, because he switched the lines up tonight. And the other thing, Mark, since we're talking about the Bruins, because I'm so disgusted, we didn't even put them in a weekly rewind.
No.
Because we're so disgusted with them. As good as they did coming back, and when they were in games 3 and 4 at home, when they were in games 3 and 4 at home, man, they were buzzing around. They were doing, they were getting into the corners. Defense played so much better. The game that McAvoy and Lindholm were out, that's when the defense played their best.
Yeah.
Now, I don't know if that's a mental thing where it says, well, we got to pick it up. You're in the playoffs, man. You always pick it up. But explain this, okay, with Cassidy. He goes and puts Pasternak on the first line for games 3 and 4, right? Mm-hmm. Puts him with the perfection line was back. Bergeron, Marchand, and Pasternak. Now, tonight, he puts last game and now puts him back down on the second line with Hall and Howler.
Yep.
Why?
I don't know. I can't explain that. When I saw that the other night, I was speechless as to what was he doing. I don't know what he's doing. I have no. Listen, you finally got some momentum in games 3 and 4. Leave it. Don't change it. Let it go. Whether or not you did that just to kickstart your team, you kickstarted them. Now you want to go back to your original lines? No, leave it. Obviously, it's working. Leave it. You don't have a choice. You look like complete crap down in Carolina. You want to go back to that lineup again when you go down there for game 5? Okay, great. Let me ask you this. If somehow they find a way to win game 6, and I don't know if they will, but if they do, can they win in that building in Carolina? I mean, listen, you can't look any worse than they've looked down there. They're such ugly, bad games they've played down there. Can they possibly win there? And if so, how?
Anything's possible, but I mean, that team, Carolina, is just a better team. I mean, that's it.
They're
fat, they're quicker, they got a better defense, the goalies are playing better. They got, and by the way, Bergeron's having his face handed to him in the face-off circle, okay, to against Jordan Staal. I mean, so no, I don't think they're going to win. I don't think they can win, okay, and I'm questioning tonight whether or not they're going to win this game 6 because of the line changes. Now, if you're going to argue, if the argument's going to be for Cassidy that, okay, when you're down in Carolina, you're on the road, they get the second change. Okay. So they can see who you're bringing out on the ice and then they can counter with that. And that line they bring out against that perfection line or against Marchand, Bergeron and DeBrusk. Yeah. Lockdown. They're locking them down. The difference at home is they got to come out first. You get the second change. So the point is you can dictate the matchups between each other. So that may have a big difference, but tonight why he doesn't put the perfection line back together to dictate that? Well, that flies in the face of that argument. So to answer your question, can they do it? Yeah, I mean, they can. Will they do it? Absolutely not. No, they're not going to. They're not going to win in Carolina.
I don't think they can win in Carolina.
In game 7.
I don't.
Does this defense show you anything, Mark, that tells you that they got that grit? They can dig down and
absolutely not.
And Lindholm, talk about Lindholm. He sucked. He's playing
back,
tonight,
but he's back tonight.
But
listen,
he's been weak. He can't get guys out in front of the net. He's been, for his size, he can't move anybody. He doesn't get down in the corners.
And they gave up some capital to get him. Right.
Yep.
And we both thought that was a good move when they did it. We said, hey, they need somebody, we thought he would fit the bill, but he really hasn't. And I said during the trade deadline, and I just threw it out there and listen, I know people thought I was crazy because we had a couple of comments, but because of their lack of physicality and toughness, I wanted them, it wouldn't have cost you much. And he would have came back. I would have brought Chara back. You could have gotten him for a reasonable price. His contract's not a lot. You could have given him a late round draft pick. They would have taken it. They weren't going to the playoffs. He didn't want to be traded, they said. But if it was Boston to come back for one last run with his guys, his team,
he would have done it.
He would have done it, and he would have came here with bells on to try to do it one more time here. But at least he would have gave you some physicality. You could have put him on the ice to slam somebody. They have nobody to do that.
Yeah, you get some presence out in front of the net.
Come
I mean,
on,
you're talking
yeah.
about, you're talking about Lindholm, Carlo. Listen, Carlo, I can't even. I've been on that guy. I can't even tell you how much I've been on that guy. In live too, in the ice, banging the crap out of it, yelling, screaming at him. But you know what? I agree. It would have helped to get a guy like that. Just some physicality.
And I just threw his name out there because I know you could have had him for basically nothing, right? And we're familiar with him. But I'm sure there were other guys out there like that. Yeah. That's all they're going to give you is some physicality. They're not going to give you much else. But this particular team needed that, and you didn't go out and do it.
And they're getting their centers too. They're getting all of them. They're getting beat down the middle. Yeah. All of them stink in the faceoff circle, including St. Patrice over there. So again, okay. So the last question to you is this, and to you out there, who's at fault for this? Is it Sweeney for the personnel? Is it Cassidy for not making the right changes, adjustments in coaching, or is it the players?
Yeah, well, I think it's a combination. I mean, not the answer you want to hear, but I think it's a combination of all three of them. But at this point of the season, this time of the year, it's the players.
Absolutely.
This time of the year, it's the players. Leading up to this time of the year, it was Sweeney. Cassidy hasn't done his job making in-game changes. It's playoff time. But right now, it's the players.
Yeah, I mean, you can't blame Sweeney or Cassidy for Bergeron losing faceoffs.
No.
You can't blame him for that. You can't blame him for Lindholm gliding around the ice, and the only time he shows up is up at the blue line on the point for on a playoff. You can't blame him for that. You can't blame him for Grzelcyk sucking in his own end. You can't blame him for the 2 goals he's giving up soft goals, right?
No. You know what pisses me off? Carolina at home jumps out. Yes, soft goal, whatever you want to say. Grzelcyk was terrible, but they score. Carolina draws first blood. And you showed no heart. You kind of, that was it. As soon as they score, you knew game was over. As soon as they scored that first goal, you know what? This team's soft. They got no grit, no heart. You said it 5 minutes ago. They got no grit. I knew the game was over. First goal, down 1-0. You're on the road. This game's over. Yeah. That's sad. It is sad
for a playoff team. And so when you say, can they do it? The only way to beat this team, Mark, is to get a lead.
Yeah.
And the games that they beat them in the series, they got a lead on them. And when the Bruins got down, that was that. Whether it's at home, whether it's on the road, it doesn't make a difference. You get the lead on Carolina, for some reason, that works. But that tells me they're not a mentally tough team.
No.
You can't get stronger than at least the Celtics, they get down, in Milwaukee, they came back. They showed grit. They showed toughness. And the games have been close that they lost, right?
And listen, Swayman, I think he gave up a couple of soft goals last game. He did. So he's going to be
just one, at least I think,
one, maybe, maybe two. But he's going to be more on his game too, right? Mm-hmm. He's going to have to listen. I give the Carolina goalie credit because the opening 8-9 minutes of that game the other night, the Bruins put some pressure on him. Marchand had a couple of good shots on net. He made some good saves, kept it at 0-0, and then allowed his team to jump up.
So, listen, we want to hear from you in Heated Hotline. This is what we're talking about. This is what we think will happen since they're playing tonight and it's Thursday. But by Saturday, you'll probably know. So give us a call. Let us know what you think. And if they are done, what needs to change? Who needs to go? Let us know. Heated Hotline was presented by CORSO Law Group, Arizona's leading criminal and traffic law firm, CORSOLawGroup.com. Allow us to be your voice. Hey, when we come back, we're going to get real. Real Deal is next.
It's that time again for a timeout for a message from one of our sponsors. No one ever thinks they will be in the need of a criminal or traffic lawyer, but things happen. CORSO Law Group is Arizona's leading criminal and traffic law firm. Their 20-plus years experience and attention to detail has helped thousands of people all across this great country who found themselves in a situation in Arizona. So whether it's a traffic ticket or if you need reduced DUI or more serious issues, call or go online to CORSOLawGroup.com and talk with these expert attorneys who I know will help you. CORSO Law Group.
Catone, the real, back in with more CORSO and Catone, the real deal New England feel. Joe, I always like, the mic is muting when it doesn't need to be. I'm telling you,
Retrograde.
everything is going haywire today, I think. But listen, the draft is over, right?
Yes.
We're going to give our grades and what we think, and it's real. So let's get going with Real Deal right now.
What are you writing now?
So I'm working over here. You're talking about nonsense. I'm working.
That's why we are the Real Deal New England Feel. It's going to be real.
So now we've had a little time to digest, to calm down a little bit, although I think Mark's going to get uptight a little bit again. But we had some time to relax with this now. The draft is over. Now it's time for Mark and I to talk to you about what's the grade. You've been hearing about this, all the grades. What's the Patriots draft grade? They're getting slammed nationally about this, and they're probably going to get slammed in about 10 seconds. So we want to do that. But we also want to talk about how are these guys going to fit in now that they have them? And then what needs to be done? June 1st is a big deal. June 1st is when a lot of release happens. Teams release a lot of guys. And who do we need? Where do we need to bolster ourselves? So, Mark, looking at the offense right now and some of the picks that they made, we'll get to the grade in a second. But how are these people fitting in? How are these guys going to do, you know?
So I'll tell you this. I'm gonna talk about a few guys quickly, and then
we may have to look at our notes so everybody understands.
I have my note right here, just so I can frame what I want to say. But quickly, I'm going to tell you my draft grade. Oh my God! Look at those things. You can't even see.
Yeah,
for those
you know
of you
what?
listening in iHot and Podbean, he's taking out these glasses. Jesus
Like
Christ!
De
It's
Niro
just-
at the end of Casino there.
Yes, that's De Niro at the end of the casino. Same
They're
glasses.
just- I will let her in. I will let her in for 5 minutes. No, listen, they're just readers. You can get them they're like $3 at the store, but I can't. You know, they got to magnify. Look at how small the words are.
Yeah, you can't see. You can't see.
Go ahead, shut up and
So,
tell
All
everybody.
right, so listen, I'm going to say this. I'll make a couple of points quick because then I know you got a lot to say on this.
I don't
matter.
have a lie, you know.
So listen, I'm going to give them a grade first. I'm going to throw my grade rate out there. I'm
Yeah.
going to give them a C minus.
Oh,
I'm
that's
not going to give
better
them an
than I
F or a
thought.
D. I'm going to give them a C minus. I went up with my grade,
Oh,
and I'm going to tell you why I went up a little bit. C minus.
because Mercury is in retrograde.
Mercury's
You
in
went up?
retrograde. Absolutely no. Listen, the more I look at film on Tyquan Thornton, the more I look at film, I think he's tougher than people give him credit for. He's not just a stretch the field wide receiver. He can run more route trees than people gave him credit for. If you go back and look at his tape, if you look at the Oklahoma game specifically, in the red zone, he goes up, puts a move on a guy and goes into the corner of the end zone, fights for the ball, puts 2 feet down, not 1, 2, like an NFL receiver. There's a couple of other games against Kansas State and TCU where he's running across the field. He creates some separation off the line. He does some things that people were like, oh, he's got, he doesn't have good hands. He can only stretch the field. He's kind of soft. He's not. He's a tough kid. He's a South Florida kid from Miami. Listen, if he grew up there, he's no soft kid. He's a tough kid. Okay, that's number one. He absolutely has hands. If you watch tape on this kid, he goes up on 50-50 balls and the kid's got hands. I don't want to hear that. That's nonsense. So I think this kid is better. And the more I looked at him, did we draft him a little early? Probably. But I think now that I relook at this, I probably would have given him a 3rd round grade. Where originally the day after the draft, I was like, he's a 4th or 5th rounder. No, I don't think he's a 4th or 5th rounder. Now that I've had time to reflect, look at some tape, and look at some other things, I still think they took him a little early. I think he probably would have been there in the 3rd round, but I don't think he was a 3rd rounder. So I think he's better than what we gave him credit for. That's why I say C minus. And I also think the running back Strange is better than we're giving him credit for because the kid has a burst and breakaway speed, something we don't have. If you go back and look at the tape last year of Damian Harris and Ramon Stevenson, they had a couple of games where they broke runs 30, 40 yards. I mean, I know the Buffalo game in the wind, Harris breaks that touchdown at midfield, right? But if you watched a bunch of their runs, There's holes there for them. They do pick up a quick 15, 20-yard burst. They get caught. Great runs. This kid Strong has the ability to take it to the house. He does. And I'm going to tell you something. I think he has the ability to be a better pass receiver out of the backfield than people are giving him credit for. I honestly think he's got the potential to become an important piece of that backfield rotation. If not this year, definitely year 2, because I think this is the last year we're going to have Harris, because Belichick doesn't pay running backs. He's a free agent. He's not going to pay him. So you're looking at who's going to who's replacing him. And the last thing I'll say before I turn it over to you, Chris, is the 6th and 7th round picks. I like them. I like the offensive lineman from Michigan. I like that kid. What's his name? Stuber. Andrew Stuber.
Stuber,
and I like the kid.
Michigan.
Yeah, and I like
Hines.
the kid Jason Hines. Those 2 picks, I think both those guys are going to be contributors to the offensive line. So that's why I gave them the C-. Listen, I'm not giving them a great grade, but C- is better than what I was giving him an F.
Well, but Mark, on offensively, right? When you look at that with the running back, so basically what you're saying is they're going to redshirt him. This running back's going to be on the bench then for the season, yes?
Well,
like J.J. Taylor was.
No, it depends. If White isn't ready, I think this kid will play some.
So then what do you do with Taylor then?
I don't think Taylor's going to make the team because you brought in Montgomery. Ty Montgomery. Don't forget they brought in Ty Montgomery. Right. I don't think Taylor's going to be on the team. I think Taylor's going to get released.
They brought Ty Montgomery and they're listing him as a receiver.
Yeah.
They're listing him as a receiver.
What, are they going to put him in a slot?
I don't know. Well, that's going to go to my point next about one of the corners that we took. So you're giving them a C, a C-.
C-, and I will say this about Thornton, though, as I looked at the wide receiver depth chart. Listen, Thornton, I think, will give you something this year, but I think he's a year away because I think this idiot, and I'm going to call Belichick an idiot, is not going to do what you and I say you need to do with a 2nd-round pick because he's got Aguilar, he's got Devontae Parker, he's got guys in front of him. He's going to wait until Aguilar's contract's up. Jacoby Myers will be up for full-fledged free agency next year. Then Thornton will get the full. Okay, now you're here. Let's go. Which I don't agree with.
Thornton's going to get a red shirt too.
He's not going to get a red shirt. No, he's not getting a red shirt. But I don't know if this fool will use him the way he should be used.
It drives me nuts. And by the way, just so you know, Jacoby Myers is a restricted free agent. He still has that status.
Oh, they didn't sign. I thought they signed him.
I don't. Yeah, we'll check it because last I looked, I didn't think that was the case. So
what say you about this draft?
Well, for me, okay, I'm gonna give them a grade of a Z. Is that the lowest letter in the alphabet?
What the hell is a Z?
You can go. Is that the lowest letter of the alphabet you can go?
Joe, what is that? Isn't there a Generation Z, X? What is that? Generation, Joe?
You're just pissed off because you're Generation A. You're still using a hammer and a chisel to spell your name.
Hey, that's a Catone's comment. I'll tell you about a hammer and a chisel next week.
Here we go. God only know. What did you do to your neighbor now? But okay, so for me, when you go to the defensive side of the ball, okay, and if we're going to stick to who they took, because just blanket, let me tell you, the linebacking core to me. Okay, if people out there want to give Belichick, just the benefit of the doubt, fine. Maybe these guys like, Perkins and Jennings and these guys in that haven't seen the field, Uche much at the linebacking core, maybe because when you go down that list, and I'm taking the glasses out now, okay? So, Juwan Bentley, we know, Jennings, Judon, we know about him, McGroon, McMillan, Perkins, Uche, Wilson. So these guys that we have that have not seen the field, Mark, that's the big problem. So Belichick has got to be of the mindset, these guys, we drafted these guys, we're going to see how they do. Fine. We'll get off that for 1 second, okay? But when you go to the secondary, okay, and you're left with guys like, Justin Bethel, now Joshua Bledsoe, who we don't know, Miles Bryant, Butler's back, who we don't know if he can give you
Miles, please don't. If we have to put Miles Bryant back on the field this year, we have a problem.
Jalen Mills, Terrence Mitchell, Jabril Peppers. You got McCourty over there, Jonathan Jones. So this is your secondary, okay? Jawan Williams, who's my best friend, and Wade. Wade's another guy that was a rookie last year. That's your secondary right now. So when you go and add these two guys, the Jones, okay? The Jones guys, both two Joneses, all right? Going back like Mark and looking at this again, I look at Marcus Jones out of Houston. The problem with drafting a guy like this is, yeah, he was Sun Belt special teams player of the year. He was college football's best, one of their best punt returners, okay, with all the numbers. I'm not going to get into all the numbers. Best kick returner, speed, beyond speed, okay, at that spot. But how was he at corner? How was he at corner? Now, he had some picks. He had about, in his freshman year, 49 tackles. He had 2 interceptions, not bad. It went up as his years went, but he played for a school that doesn't play it against anybody. So, like I said, I have a problem with where he was picked in the draft, but when I really look deeper into it and I see his speed and I see what he does on the inside, what that tells me is he can run with some of these guys like a Tyreek Hill kind of guy. He can run with some of those guys. McKenzie come dip across the center of the field. So not bad, not terrible. If they're going to use him in special teams at return, okay. The bigger problem that I have, okay, is with the damn ASU corner, Jack Jones. I just want to tell you something right now. Jones was ruled in 2018 academically ineligible for the 2018 season. Okay, there was number one. Okay, so I'm not sure. This is a complicated offense, right? Defense. So then I highlighted this. You're gonna like this. Jones was ruled academically ineligible. Then he was arrested for breaking into a restaurant after hours. Eventually, he pled guilty to a second-degree misdemeanor charge of a commercial burglary. Okay, and I know all about that. Yeah, and that was after he spent time in junior college. Then he came to Arizona State. Okay, so he did get honorable Pac-12 mention, which to me doesn't mean a hell of a lot. So he's got character issues. But not only does he have character issues, he's got a string bean frame. He doesn't have good feet. He's got his feet match up too much. They're too antsy, so his footwork sucks. He plays upright, so he gets out of his posture all the time. Your posture is your back's on an angle. He gets out of posture. He stands up all the time. Okay, he can't win 50-50 battles, and he can't stay with guys when he's pressing down the field. So, what the hell reason is this guy on the team for? That's why
you mean to tell me those not traits you're looking for out of a corner?
So what that tells me, it's a Duke. I know we're running out of time, but that tells me it's another Duke Dawson. It's another guy that you're just never going to play. He's never going to see the field, and you wasted a pick on. So I got a problem with that. I'm okay with the corner they took, but they did nothing else, Mark. The defensive tackle, Sam Roberts, out of Northwest Missouri State, he's got a motor. He's a decent guy in the center of the field, plug up a gap. But God damn it, Mark. This was a horrendous draft as it relates to the defense. And the defensive side of the ball needed to get faster. They need to be able to put more pressure with their front four because their secondary sucks and their secondary didn't get any better. Yeah. So that's why I give them, honestly, a D. I give them a D. And that's the grade I give them for this draft on both sides of the ball. I agree with you offensively, maybe a C, but a D overall, in my opinion. So now, how are these guys going to fit in? Well, we talked about that, but I'm more interested to see how the linebackers are going to fit with what they had. So let's pretend that they were drafted because they never saw the field their freshman year, right?
No.
First year in. So if they made a mistake 2 years ago, Mark, if they made a mistake on defense 2 years ago drafting those guys, they're in a lot of trouble.
Listen, at the post-draft, at the post-draft press conference, they
breaking
said,
and entering, burglary. Really?
Listen, he should have called CORSO Law Group. Listen, at the post-draft press conference, Groh says that they're looking at Cameron McGrone
Belichick's third son.
Yeah, he's saying they looked at Cameron McGrone as a draft pick this year because he didn't play last year. So they looked at him as a draft pick that, is new to the team, almost like he got drafted this year. That was their logic for not taking a linebacker. That was their logic, just so you know.
Well, again, it's a problem. It's a big problem. And to me, they haven't solved their pass rush issue either. You got Judon, you got Barmore, but what else? What else? You better hope that Uche can give you something on the edge too, because nobody could seal the edge. That's a problem for them too. So those are our grades. And listen, the schedule is releasing tonight. So we're going to get to that on our next show and break that down completely. But gentlemen, that's the question for all of you out there in Heated Hotline. What's your grade for them? How did they do as far as you're concerned? Well, we got to get going. It's that time again. We want to thank you for joining us in the nation. And everybody, get online. Our shows are all up for you to watch and listen to, and come back 7 p.m. next Saturday. We're going to see if the Celtics are still in it, and, of course, the Bruins. And if they're not, what do they need to do moving forward, and who's responsible for that? And the NFL schedule drops tonight, Thursday night. We're going to talk all about that, get deep into it, and find out when Mark and I are going to be going to Vegas for that game. And I think that's going to be in December. A little birdie told me that's going to be in December.
I think it might be.
And another birdie told me we're going to be playing Thanksgiving night in the primetime game. So don't fall asleep with all your turkey, okay, eating that, because the Patriots are playing that night. So listen, anything you want to give to us in Heated Hotline, we'll be ready for it. We are CORSO and CATONE, the real deal, New England feel. See you next Saturday.